In this video, I'm going to show you how to reset the Soundcraft and patch the Stagebox inputs and outputs. The first thing I do after I power up the Soundcraft is I go to System and I go to Reset All. That undoes all of the patching and restores it to the default patching. It's also going to bring all your gain knobs down and the trim knobs down, and should look like this, all consistent. When you plug in the Stagebox, make sure to use a good quality shielded cat cable, something like this. It should have metal on the sides of the connector. That's how you know it's shielded. Works better cutting out interference. It goes into the port that says MADI, and on the Soundcraft it goes also into the MADI port. Do not plug it into the other port for networking. There's two different cat ports. For the Stagebox, you use MADI. Okay, you're going to want a solid green light on the Stagebox. If it's blinking, then you don't have a good connection. It should be solid green on both. The next thing I like to do is patch the outputs. I sort of start at the end, and then I go to the mics after that. So in this case, for example, I want the main left and right to come out of, let's say, 7 and 8 on the box. So I'm going to select left and right. You always select the channel you want to patch first. Then go to Outputs, scroll down to Patching, and then instead of using analog output 1516, which is what it defaults to, I scroll over to Stagebox, and I'm going to select 7 and 8. You need to unpatch the default first before it lets you do that. So I got to unpatch 1516. Go back to Stagebox and select 7 and 8. There you go. And it does left and right automatically because it's a stereo output. So now anything you send to LR will come out of 7 and 8 on the Stagebox. Now for inputs, it works the same way. For example, let's say this is our podium mic, this guy here, and they're on stage. Instead of running it all the way to back of house, you could put it in whichever input you want here. Let's try 1. But you're not going to see anything on the board on 1 because it's not patched. By default, it's patched to the analog input 1. So again, you select the track, go to Inputs, because you're patching an input now. Scroll down to Patching, and you see it defaults to mic input 1. That's the analog input. You got to unpatch that, scroll over to Stagebox, and select input 1. So now you should get metering on input 1. Test, 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 check. Even though it's in the Stagebox. Hey, hey. There we are. So let's just undo that real quick so you can see the two ways to do it. This time I'm going to unplug it from 1 and plug it into 1 analog 1 here. And you won't get anything anymore because it's patched to the Stagebox. But if we go back here, unpatch the Stagebox, and put it back on analog 1, now you're going to get your input metering again. And that is how you patch inputs and outputs on the Stagebox.